Okay, hello everyone. Welcome. Today we are going to be doing a session on communication. My name is Shay Dixon.
I'm Mallory Irvin.
And I'm Mary Frances Devine.
And today we are having a session focusing on communication. Throughout the intervention, our goal is to learn clear and concise forms of communication within a group to better understand ourselves and others. And our objective for this session is participants will engage in a communication exercise for 30 minutes to identify at least 2 to 3 successful strategies for effective communication. Just to start, like humans, animals communicate with each other in different ways. For example, some bees perform a dance called the waggle to inform other bees in the hive where the food can be found. Or squids and cuttlefish can change their colors to communicate with each other. Even dogs wag their tails to their owners to let them know that they're happy to see them. Just like animals, we communicate to each other in our own ways, whether it's effective or ineffective communication. So in today's world, can anybody tell me how do we communicate with the people around us on a regular basis? How might you communicate with your peers?
Anything. Yeah.
Verbally?
Sorry?
Like you're asking like what ways? Or like
Yeah, how do you communicate with people?
verbally, FaceTime, text
Yeah.
messages,
Those are great.
Just smiling, walk past the street.
Yeah, nonverbal
Yeah.
communication, eye contact,
Language.
body language.
Body language is a big one.
What about our cell phones? Do you guys think you communicate more with people on your cell phones than you do in person?
or letters or mail.
Yeah, bring it back.
Yeah, sending emails in college is definitely something that we do very often. So the dictionary definition of communication is the act or process of using words, sounds, signs, or behaviors to express or exchange information or to express your ideas, thoughts, or ideas to someone else. So examples of communication like we mentioned are verbal, which using words to communicate directly to speak to one another, nonverbal, body language, facial expressions, eye contact, gestures, posture, and eye contact. And also your tone of voice can also be an effect, like a factor of communication with individuals. So why do you think communication is important in our daily lives? Why might we need to communicate? Yeah.
It's like how we build relationships with people around us.
Yeah. Langley?
I was gonna say trust.
Mhm.
Having that trust.
Share with others how you feel.
Yeah, that's a good one. Sarah,
Either
Skylar,
one.
either one.
Goals that you gotta like ask for help or
Yeah.
like go to lectures.
Yeah.
That's what I said. Like, it's just necessary for things.
Yeah. Sharing information and learning things.
Yeah, so sharing ideas, building relationships, understanding others is a very key factor of communication. If we don't communicate, we can't understand what others are needing from us. And what might be some challenges of communication that we face on a daily basis? Yeah, okay.
Social anxiety.
Yeah.
Language barriers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a big one.
I was gonna say language barriers, but also like different views.
Yeah, different beliefs, yeah.
I feel like time constraints, like we become really busy with like school or work, we don't have time to really chat.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
everybody gets caught up with life and might not communicate as effective as we should. So now we're going to transition into our activity. Mary Frances.
We're going to start by putting y'all in groups, and we have pre-made the groups, so there might need to be some moving around, which is fine. But group 1 is, and then I'll get to that in a minute, but group 1 is going to be Annabelle, Langley, and Chloe.
So you can go ahead and move to your groups, whatever is
If you're already
easiest.
in them, that's fine. And then group 2 is going to be Micaiah, Autumn, Destiny. Group 3 is going to be Madison, Emma, Kate, and Carly. And then group 4, we will tell y'all how we're going to do it, but it's going to be the one group of 4. And then that's going to be Amber, Skylar, Trinity, and Sarah. And I'm going to give y'all all a number. You're going to stay within your groups, but this is going to be your player number for the activity. Annabelle, you're going to be player 1. Langley, you're player 2. Chloe, you're player 3. And then remember these numbers because that's how the game is going to flow. And then Micaiah, you're player 1. Autumn, you're player 2. Destiny, you're player 3. Madison, you're player 1. Emma Kate, you're player 2. Carly, you're player 3. Amber, you're player 1. Skylar, you're player 2. Trinity, you're player 3. And then Sarah, you're player 4. We'll give y'all a minute to kind of move around. And then Shay went ahead and passed out the survey So once you're in your groups, if you would like to put your first name and last initial, and then begin filling out the communication survey questions. This assessment will evaluate your communication skills. There are 10 questions. Each question will respond with the number you agree with for the prompt. And then the scale is 1 to 5, 1 being never, 2 being not often, 3 being sometimes, 4 being often, and then 5 being always.
And again, we're only doing the first 10. Don't worry about the back side of the paper.
And then we will give you all about 5 minutes.
These answers are completely confidential, so
Yes, they
feel
will.
free to
They won't go anywhere.
go ahead.
Again, like one of you said and mentioned that we can kind of get a little busy and caught up in day-to-day activities. So hopefully this gives you kind of an idea of how you've been communicating or just going about your days recently. A good little check-in.
Once you're done, you can put your pencils down. We'll still give you all a few minutes for those who still filling out.
Maybe just a show of hands, how many of you are done? Perfect. We'll give it a few more time, but no worries. Couple more seconds.
If you're not done, that's okay. Before Mallory gets into how to play the game, I just want to make sure that everyone remembered their number if I need to repeat any for the game. Everyone?
Sweet.
Okay, perfect.
So this game is kind of just a mix hodgepodge of multiple games, but I kind of got the idea off of the hear, say, see no evil, the little monkeys, you know. It's kind of a mix between charades, telephone, and Pictionary, but pretty much is the goal of the game is to get through as many cards as you can within the 10 minutes. The first group to finish or has the most cards will win. We should probably say, like, first you might want a pen or a marker. A pencil might be kind of hard to draw on, but each player will stick to their assigned number that you're given, and we'll pass out the materials to play. One person, player 1, will wear a blindfold. Their player knows see, so they're not going to be able to see. They will wear the blindfold and use their ears and mouth to communicate. Player 2 is the no speak. They will remain silent throughout the game and will not be able to speak. And then player 3 is the no hear, so they will wear headphones, which hopefully everybody brought. If you didn't, please let us know and we'll get you something. But they will not be able to hear. So again, the whole premise of it is whatever player you are going to be able to not utilize that sense pretty much. You're going to rely on the two opposite senses to kind of communicate with your partners. So how the game will work is I tried to draw it out as best as I can. Player 2 is the no speak player. We're going to start with player 2. They will then draw the card in which you all have in the Ziploc bags. Player 2, the silent player, will start by drawing the card, and they will not show anybody. They must act out that card to player 3, all the way over here. They will act that card out kind of like charades, and they must do so without speaking. Is everybody following?
Can you restate that?
Yes. So player 2, the no speak, will be drawing the card, and then like charades, they will be acting the card out to player 3 that will not be able to hear anything. So it's up to player 3 to then try and guess what player 2 is acting out, even though they can't hear anything. Is everybody following? I know it's difficult, but I think it'll be fun. So player 3 then tries to describe verbally, because they can still speak, to player 1 who cannot see what that card is. So they're using the game of charades to kind of guess what that player is acting out, and then will describe using like their verbal communication to player 1. Player 1, who cannot see, will blindfold and draw on their piece of paper what that card is, kind of like in Pictionary. Player 1, when they are finished drawing the card and it's correct, the group can move on to the next card, and when the timer runs out and all cards are drawn, just raise your hand and we'll kind of know who won. I know it has a lot of moving parts, but does anybody have any questions or need me to reiterate anything? Don't be scared. I know it's tricky. We have blindfolds out, so player number 1,
You'll be wearing your blindfold.
yes, you will not be able to see anything, but you can still hear and speak. So then, for those things,
And player 2, make sure you don't show anybody the card. You're the only one who should be looking at the cards.
Just take your glasses off, yeah.
Yeah.
I cannot see. I'm blind. Okay.
All right. Does everybody have their blindfold and their headphones in?
And you guys can go ahead and take your cards out, get them ready to draw.
You can.
If you
Yeah,
want.
feel free to stand up and act out if you want to, or you can stay seated. Whatever you'd like.
Yeah, we're gonna walk.
Does anybody have any last minute questions before we start the timer?
No,
Oh, yeah,
it's just
on
whatever the card
yeah.
says. There's no like.
Yeah, there's no set thing. Yeah, 10 minutes.
All right, is everybody kind of ready? Get our 10-minute timer. Everybody can kind of turn their music on, but just remember everybody else is trying to listen and use their skills. So, okay, ready? 10 minutes on the clock. You guys may start and begin. Good luck.
The person you can see needs to describe what the first team should draw. And choose what you want. So Langley, tell them what to draw. Layer, yeah, layer 2. Make sure y'all try to tell me what you can't see what they draw. That's not Amber was drawing. And you can describe what she draws. That's wheels.
Brush your teeth. Okay. Toothbrush. Okay. Toothbrush. Okay, now stop. Bring it up. Turn around.
Remember, it's the first group. Yes, first to get through all cards.
That's my
Wheel over a horizontal line. And then do another wheel.
I really hate
You guys are doing great.
Okay. Okay, no, you're on. Move your stand up. Help more.
A little over 7 minutes. Give those cards.
Is that right?
So they can't tell you. You just gotta.
A big chicken, a big bird, a bird. Oh, Lord. Y'all too mean. The other side of our jersey. Okay, yeah. I really see my bird.
We have about 3 more minutes.
And then, so now Shay is going to pass out our next worksheet, which is going to be the communication worksheet. And we're going to give about 5 to 6 minutes for everyone to complete that. And then if anyone would like to share their responses once you are done. And the same as the first one, put your first or your first name and last initial on it, and then take some time to fill it out.
And again, this isn't going anywhere, so feel free to be as honest as you want. And when you guys are all finished with the questions, just put your pencils down, kind of give us a thumbs up when you're done. I'm going to start just kind of going over some briefing questions, but please feel free to continue if you haven't finished your worksheets. But we're just going to kind of debrief and talk about the activity and all we learned.
Yeah, so I'm going to just quickly go over some questions on the communication worksheet, and if you want to share, feel free, but you don't have to if you don't want to. So number 1 is, what does effective communication mean to you, and how do you define it in your own words?
I think being able to understand how others feel and also being able to tell others how you feel.
Good. Yes, Sarah?
I said it's clearly articulating your true intentions, motivations.
Yeah.
Aspect communicating, but also comprehending what both parties are thinking.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. And Langley?
I said to be able to get a point across to the other person depending on the situation, so you better understand each other.
Perfect. And then number 2, what is effective communication, or why is effective communication important in personal relationships, workplace settings, and other areas of your life? Yeah, or Autumn?
I said that it allows for you to build good relationships, learn how to respect others, and allow to ask questions and like also answer questions in a respectful manner.
Yeah. Perfect, Sarah?
I just said the faster you get to your point, the faster you'll get what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. Eva?
I said reduces unnecessary arguments and helps spread people feel understood.
Perfect. And then identify 3 key elements or skills that you believe contribute to to effective communication, explain why you consider them important. You don't have to do all three, you can do one or two.
I said calm tone, active listening, and honest responses.
Perfect.
I said
Chloe?
understanding,
Jeff?
like understanding my point of view, not just like what you believe.
Yeah. Madison?
Put tone, body language, and validation.
Yep. Anna?
I put body language, explaining, and active listening.
Okay. And then Micaiah?
After active listening, empathy, and rationality.
Good. Awesome. And then to wrap up, we have some processing questions. Can you identify the most difficult part of this activity? If you have multiple parts as well. Amber?
Definitely, like, not being able to see is hard because, like, trying to draw and know where you're drawing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did your partner seem to help you with that and just guide you on where to start drawing?
A little bit.
Did y'all find it more difficult, or I know that y'all had 4, but just having someone that had an extra role, or did you feel like it was kind of the same as if you only had 3?
It's really helpful because I feel like I have like a different
Yeah.
way of
Noted.
because we're both comments.
Yeah. Any other groups want to identify the most difficult part that they experienced? Chloe?
I think I'm a talker, so the fact that I wasn't able to talk, and I was kind of just looking at Langford like, girl, this should be so easy. And just like going back and forth and like, why aren't we getting this? Like,
Yeah.
brought some frustration.
Yeah. It can be hard to hold back when you want to just tell them what it is, even as something as simple as a car or like a bicycle. So, what's one thing that your group did well? What was something you thought was an effective way that your dynamic of the group worked?
Like a strategy or something that didn't.
Sorry. We couldn't get one right at first, so we just pushed it to the side and went back to it.
Yeah.
So that we weren't stuck on one thing forever.
Yeah, that's a good strategy to wait and come back.
Anyone else? I guess having more people was helpful too, right? So that wasn't a problem.
And then identify 3 things that your group could have done differently, or what you thought might have been a little bit easier, or something you might want to change about how you try to communicate. Yeah.
I feel like it brought like more stress because it was like a competition with people, but like I feel
Yeah.
like calming down when some of them would have been better, but also like the competition, I guess like knowing it was timed, it like made me like really think about like how I could like tell her what it was in like the simplest amount of like
Yeah.
movements, I guess.
See, the time factor adds a little bit more stress because you're on a restricted limit. You got to work fast. So maybe if you didn't have the time, it would have been a little less chaotic and stressful.
Would it have been easier to be on a time limit or just have it be the first group to finish without a time? Really?
I like it.
I know some people are funny about timers and alarms, you know, if they go off, but I was just curious. Okay, well, can we all describe maybe one strategy we gained from this activity that'll help us maybe communicate better, whether it's in a time frame or just with other people, something about communication that was beneficial.
Maybe like resetting, so like the first few times she wasn't understanding what I was trying to tell her the picture was, and then like you know, so just kind of like reset and did something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to reevaluate how you're communicating with people and kind of change for their communication styles because we all have different styles.
Especially under time frame.
Yeah. Kind of got to figure out what works.
Learning how to use body language and eye contact as a form of communication.
Yeah. Anyone else? Yes.
I feel like be more descriptive because I was just saying like a line because in my head I didn't know what was instead of like the word line instead of just saying a line.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad everybody enjoyed the activity. Y'all did very well.
Yes.
Thank y'all. This is all we have for you. If you want to put your papers together and the blindfolds and all the materials.
We'll come gather. I'll
you all for playing.